The following podcast is a production of the LAG.
Creepy Pete and Chili Cheese J present.
Alright, so, this is just to, prove to you that I'm not lying about this game that I found. Okay, so there's a bit of weirdness. I should not have felt doubt. What the
Petscop, a lame-ass gamers network investigation.
That's a dead kid. This is just luck that I happened to find this.
We are greeted in the 8th installment of Petscop with Paul once again below the Newmaker plane, pacing left and right while in the corridor with the strange cars flying past at lightning speed, but yet only when he is out of the center path. Paul now seems to notice this odd occurrence, and we can see him testing out this pattern. As we see cars rushing past, Paul steps in front of the entrance they emerge from. He stands in place for an agonizing 20 seconds while we see no cars come through at all. Paul then steps over to the side at 22 seconds in, and immediately a vehicle zooms in and out of our view once again. Paul continues walking in front of the path for a few more moments, his presence seemingly preventing the vehicles from emerging. Suddenly, when Paul steps aside, it's not a car that enters from this entrance, but another character with a familiar silhouette.
What?
The character has a similar body to Paul's sprite, but we see his head is a darker green. He appears to be of middle age. A mustache and thick black eyebrows lie underneath a sleek, bald head. This character then begins to circle Paul and leads him back to the corridors where the paintings of the house and the school hang. Paul is quite confused, but wanting to progress further, he follows the mysterious fellow. The character stops in front of the school painting. As Paul interacts with it and looks at it, the character begins to eagerly circle Paul, almost as if he's searching for it and trying to communicate that to Paul.
This is Marvin, right?
The character then repeats these actions in front of the painting of the green house. That's when Paul realizes,
This is Marvin.
this is him. This is Marvin. Marvin then begins to run into a wall continuously, not going anywhere, and periodically running in circles as before, possibly again trying to communicate something to Paul. Confused by Marvin's actions, Paul playfully says, "I don't think you know what you are doing."
I think you're confused, Marvin. I don't think you get what you're doing.
Before Marvin dashes upward into the Newmaker plane.
What? Excuse me?
Shocked, Paul searches around a bit before going up the stairs and exiting himself.
He went up. Will I find him if I go up?
Paul rises up into the Newmaker plane once again. However, he wanders for a few moments, but there is no Marvin in sight.
I don't know.
We then jump to Paul back in the underground corridor at the direct spot Marvin was running straight into the wall. We listen to some mysterious dialogue of Paul and the unknown person he is speaking to. Paul suddenly talking about a pathway that's no longer in that spot.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not here now. There's not even a passageway or anything.
Asking questions we don't get to hear the answers to.
Can you remember when you saw this? Well, it could have changed between then and 2004.
Talking about his mother having possession of the game at one point.
After 2004, my mom had it reportedly.
Then, the video cuts off in the middle of Paul thanking the person on the other end of the conversation, clearly frustrated with the lack of usable information.
Well, okay. Thanks.
So welcome to the discussion portion of the Petscop podcast. You just listened to the narration of episode 8, where we are introduced to fucking green-ass Dr. Phil, otherwise known as Marvin. which we were half-ass introduced to in 5, I believe.
When we cashed him outside.
Was that 5?
Yeah, it was 5. I'm looking at the progress document now.
All right, good deal. But we saw him only... Hold on, mic noise. I'm going to lower this a little bit. All right. However, we only saw him as a silhouette as you described him in the narration portion. So I'll just bring up the progress document and just give you... Marvin has the same body as the player character and Quitter, but his head is different. He may also be the following characters. The Shadow Monster Man, which pretty much, yeah, I don't know who else would be. And other than that, I can't say any more there. That's spoilers. Marvin is first introduced in Petscop 5 after Paul asks why he should turn off the PlayStation when Pink Tool responds, Marvin picks up Tool, hurts me when PlayStation on. One of the creepier moments in the first half of these Petscop videos. First half of what we have of these Petscop videos.
That was easily... I can't talk. That was easily probably the moment where I was like hooked on Petscop.
Yeah.
Is when I saw that little message from Tool. That's what like, hooked me. I was like, I need to find more.
Because you can tell like Paul is like really like just thrown off of his game completely when that happens.
Yeah, the entire time he's kind of like on edge, but when that one happens, he's suddenly realizes, oh my god, okay, there's something fucked up here.
So, the phrase Marvin picks up Tool is still under discussion. It could be that Marvin is using the tool to hurt the person who is speaking through Pink Tool, or that picking up Tool could be unrelated to how they're being hurt. This message might also be referring to the smaller tool-like objects found in some of the bedrooms. As the purpose of these objects is still unknown, it's unclear if they can be used to hurt someone. Marvin only hurting the speaker when PlayStation is on could indicate that the people in the game might not exist as long as the PlayStation is off. Which... crazy. In Petscop 7, through Pink Tool's messages, it reveals more about Marvin. I love you, New Maker. Please show Marvin where his house is, which we then were asked by Marvin to show him his house and the school and all of that, which... In Petscop 8, Marvin leads Paul on a giant chase into the pictures of the school. Is it just the school that he leads to?
He goes to the house as well. Yeah, I believe he goes to the house first. He goes to the house first, and he's circling around, and then Paul's like, "Oh, okay, what's going on here?" And then he goes to the school, and the school plays a different tone than the house does. Yeah. It's like a ominous, dark, I love how he just comes out of nowhere too.
Yeah, he rushes in.
Yeah, the cars
rushes in the screen.
The cars have been going there since we first saw that room, and it's always been the same pattern. When Paul's standing in the middle of the road, the cars don't come. He stands out, one zips by, and then out of nowhere, we just see the unsilhouetted version of Marvin just walk right in.
And it's like kind of clear. Like, I don't know if he's panicked. I mean, he clearly needs to find this school and his house. I mean, I don't know, but is he panicked, or is he just like excited he found Paul to be like, okay, here, show me where this shit is. So I don't know how to take his urgency necessarily, if it's out of alarm or out of need, necessity. I don't know.
And that still opens up that debate of like when Paul's saying this game's trying really hard to make it seem like there's an entity in it.
Yeah.
How long has Marvin been there? Is Marvin its own entity, or is it a program demoed in to like show the real Marvin, his crimes?
And Marvin's like circling Paul too. It's like not like it's a set. It's like not like it's a game programmed. It's just totally random. He's like following Paul around, running around in circles around Paul as he goes and moves and stuff. So
he's got his own little personality.
Yeah,
I mean, especially with spawning in items and like showing, hey, there's my house. And he's just kind of like dilly-dallying around.
Marvin definitely seems to have some sentient thing about him to where he's reacting to Paul as Paul reacts to him, rather than just, you're in a game
with the NPC that's just like, hey, I want you to go to this objective, or might walk up to the picture and then you got to figure out what to do.
You don't have Marvin rushing in and talking about how he took an arrow to the knee. Or someone stole his sweet roll and...
Find the house and I'll give you 46 pieces.
So, I mean, other than that, the phone, well, we don't know if it's a phone call, but the other little red flag is, other episodes. Paul is obviously talking to someone, talking about how his mom had the game in the past, something about the year 2004. No one, I mean, we'll find out later on about the lineage of the game among people. Hard to explain without giving anything away, but some shit's coming up to where we're gonna delve more into that, how the game got into certain people's hands and things like that going forward. So, and of course, kind of crazy like that. Paul, the video cuts off in mid-word, Paul saying thanks, and doesn't even get it out fully. It's just that, and then the video's over. So
the proprietors cut it,
which maybe the proprietors just don't want Paul showing gratitude. But at the same time, we don't know who Paul is talking to.
We don't even know the proprietors.
No.
I've heard several convincing arguments.
Well, especially after the last 2 episodes. That kind of threw things in a whole new loop for us. So, at this point, I mean, there's really not a whole lot else to say about 8. This is kind of... not an intermission. It's kind of a good, in-between...
It's a good break point.
The first 7 episodes, including 8 with the introduction of Marvin, seems like that's the introduction to Petscop. 9 forward is where things get a little more weird, then a lot more weird, and then it's just like, okay, we still have no idea what this really is. So,
yeah, the narrative definitely starts opening up.
Yeah,
at 7, and then 8, you're introduced to Marvin. And from then on, it's just full-on clusterfuck where there's 4 different things going on at once.
So we figured this would be a good opportunity for us to get Petscop content out while we delve into 9 and 10, and then 11. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to 11.
Which I think we agreed. I don't know if we said it on the last podcast or not, but we would do another of the preparation recordings for 11.
For 11. I believe we stated that, but we might as well reinstate it here. Yeah, that could have been. Honestly, it all blends together at this point.
Yeah, I know. It's, just finding the time to cover Petscop in our normie lives is quite the task at times, so. But we're getting there. And, totally throw out love to everyone listening to it, because we're approaching 300 plays on episode 1. We're now well over 200 on episode 2. So shout out to everyone who's listened and made it successful for us, because we thought it'd be good.
Yeah, hey, we enjoyed doing it.
Yeah,
we love Petscop. We thought, why not put them together?
Well, there's an audience out there and it's relevant. So,
I mean, this is a modern day creepypasta in progress. This is like a Wonders of the World.
Yeah,
I'm so impressed with whoever put this together. It's ingenious.
And we just now discovered that on the Petscop Reddit, we could have had our lives made a whole lot easier when scripting out the narration portions of the podcast.
Shout out to Reddit. You guys are never cease to amaze.
And we found these at the perfect time when things get really fucking crazy and there's a lot of text coming up.
The text is definitely by far probably the longest part of the script. It's super easy just to transcribe what Paul's doing.
It's just us sitting at a computer late at night, watching 5 seconds of a video, typing it out, watch the next. So now that we know that this has been transcribed elsewhere, sweat off brow, man. Cause
no more staying up till 2 a.m. writing creepy notes about people with eyebrows.
Doing those, because remember when I got frustrated and sent you the half-written script and been I couldn't take it anymore. I got tired of just transcribing this video. That was episode 1 of Petscop, the first Petscop video. I got fed up transcribing all the signs and I can't wait for
15. I can't wait for 15.
Well, 14 is the long one. 15, well, shit.
Oh, is it 14 is the longer? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't rewatched 14 and 15 in a couple weeks. And I need to get on that.
We also discovered, which I haven't watched more of, that YouTube video we found. I think it's the New Maker Wanderer or something.
Yeah, and they're
Shout out to that fuck, because he's got some. It's just dumb as shit. but made us laugh.
It's surprisingly super entertaining. It's not canon at all, but it's a meme. It's a shit post. Yeah.
But if you love Petscop, it's good for a laugh. Is it the new Maker Wanderer? Is that what it's called?
Give me one moment.
It's a straight up YouTube channel that we just happened into when we were at work one day, and next thing we know, we're watching like video after video, cackling, and then you're almost late for work or class or something. And
what was it? It was like Care's Adventure or something like that. It's just Care,
so
like
fucking bizarre.
It's like an RPG style video with Petscop sprites. Yeah, it's like Final Fantasy, and Petscop had just an abomination of a baby.
So at this point, I mean, all we can really do is kind of recap, things, because we kind of are at that point to where we're moving into like
the serious stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, all we know as of now, as of episode 8, again, for you hardcore Petscop people, we're doing these things as if people who have never watched Petscop are following along with us. So strictly 1 through 8, we know a dude named Paul found a game with a note. The note opens up this alternate game that leads him on a wild goose chase with just sprinkles of weirdness throughout that just one by one slowly start making him question everything. That we're both getting gassy.
See, I try and turn away from the microphone and blow it out. That's just like what I'm used to, like in the station. Like, oh, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta burp.
We own these microphones.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think about it. Yeah, because then I literally did that as soon as you did, and you just.
And we've been introduced to the tools, and it's hard to talk more about stuff like that because things are about to get a lot more fleshed out. So going forward, we'll be able to kind of open up our discussions a little bit more, especially after 11. After 11,
we'll be set.
Yeah.
We don't really have to worry about spoilers, or I mean, we do, but we don't. It'll be a lot less stressful.
I think the discussion after 11 is going to be lengthy just because we can go back to so much other stuff and tie it in now, and not necessarily things have been answered by that point, but
there's just more information given to us
where we don't whereas now we have to be like, oh, we can't talk about that yet. After 11 we'll be able to talk about a whole lot more, and so I guess there's not a whole lot else to talk about Petscop wise. I mean,
we introduced Marvin. He's a very pivotal character. Clearly,
we're gonna learn a whole lot more about him soon.
Just with the note in 7 by Rainer Newmaker.
Spoiler alert!
No, we've already covered that.
You said Rainer.
No, he signs his name on that note.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, Rainer Newmaker.
See, I'm just so ready for these next episodes.
Yeah, because we haven't gotten to any of the house stuff. That'll be fun to get into. Because I have some pretty strong viewpoints on that house shit.
I did, and then they all got blown into smithereens.
Yeah, yeah. And Petscop will do that to you. And that's the magic of it.
Any theory, man, that you may have, be prepared for it to die. Thoughts and prayers to your Petscop theories.
Oh, but that's the fun of it. It just constantly throws it in your face that you're wrong.
Even 13, I remember 13 at the end of it, I had it was like theorizing. I'm like, oh my god, this, and this. And then when 14 came out, I'm like, fuck, I was wrong about everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
I definitely felt that first time going through it. I had kind of suspicions of, okay, that's what this is kind of going on. Like, I don't know all the answers, but, sure, why not? And then you get to episode like 10 or 11 when you're introduced to I'm just gonna call her Spoiler Girl for now because I don't want to say her name, but that's a whole can of worms in itself. 3?
Petscop episode 4 will be coming sometime
soon.
It's gonna take, this one's gonna take some work
because we're doing 9 and 10.
I gotta pull a lot of sound clips on this fucking shit too.
Yeah,
the editing's gonna be an issue, so it very well might be a month before we get it up, which is fine.
Yeah, it's Petscop. The uploads are like 6 months apart.
Exactly. So Until then,
Maybe there'll be episode 16. Wishful thinking, but maybe.
goodbye.